Actor Logan Marshall-Green, who just appeared in the vastly underrated but very good Upgrade action movie that I reviewed and thought was spectacular, has expressed his interest on Twitter in playing Mr. Miracle in Ava DuVernay's upcoming New Gods movie, which I just found out yesterday. I guess he did send this tweet out on July 23rd. I had no idea. And when I found out, I had to make a video about it. But before I get into it, let's read this Twitter exchange. I'm on his Twitter account, and he says, "I'm officially an unemployed actor," because, he's not in any movies right now. "And I've already had my 15 minutes in the MCU." He actually played the Shocker for like about a couple of minutes in Spider-Man Homecoming, by the way. "So I'm starting my own shameless campaign to play my favorite hero in the DCU. Hashtag Mr. Miracle," and he tags Ava DuVernay, the director. And she replied back with this gif of him from Prometheus, and she put like a wink emoji. And then he responded back by saying, "Not that scot-free production, yours." And by scot-free, he's referring to Ridley Scott's production company. Ridley Scott produced and directed Prometheus, where Logan Marshall-Green played. I forgot his character's name, but he was one of the stars of Prometheus. So that is interesting. I think Logan Marshall-Green will be a great Mr. Miracle. Before I go into that, I'll explain to you a little bit about who Mr. Miracle is. In DC New Gods comics, Mr. Miracle is one of the most well-known and important New Gods in a lot of the stories. His origin is, there's, the two, factions of New Gods, the good ones, so to speak, sort of good, who live on New Genesis, and the bad ones who live on Apocalypse. Darkseid rules the bad New Gods in Apocalypse, and Highfather rules the good New Gods in New Genesis. New Genesis and Apocalypse don't like each other, and they fight each other in a war. But both Highfather and Darkseid have sons, and what they do is they decide this truce, this peace treaty, to stop fighting. They will trade sons, and each person will raise the other guy's son. So Apocalypse trades his son Orion with Highfather's son Scot-Free. And so Scot-Free goes to Apocalypse. He is forced to leave New Genesis to go to Apocalypse, and he is raised by Granny Goodness under Darkseid in one of Granny Goodness's orphanages. Granny Goodness is a sadistic person who raises little kids under harsh conditions. They grow up basically as slaves, but they become warriors, but they have a horrible childhood. And Scot-Free is one of those kids, and he develops a talent for escaping, and with technology, he's very smart. He can adapt in bad situations, and he develops the ability to escape from any situation, or almost any situation. And so he escapes the orphanage, and he escapes Apocalypse to flee to Earth. And with him goes his lover, Big Barda, who was also raised in Granny Goodness's orphanages as one of her female furies, like Darkseid's, cadre of female warriors. She leaves too, because a lot of people, everybody hates working for Granny, or most of them do. So Scott and Barda flee to Earth, and Scott is taken in by this guy on Earth called Thaddeus Brown, who's this escape artist called Mr. Miracle. Thaddeus dies, and Scott takes up the reins and becomes the new Mr. Miracle, an escape artist who has superpowers, and he becomes one of Earth's superheroes. And at times, Mr. Miracle, he joined the Justice League for a bit, but mostly he's been his own superhero, and he's joined up with other New Gods like Orion, Light Ray, and others, to be one of the New God superheroes in the DC universe. Now, what are Mr. Miracle's powers? Like most New Gods, he has enhanced speed and strength and things like that, but he relies on a lot of gadgets. He has these arrow discs that he puts his feet on that allow him to fly on the discs, and he's a master at escaping. His most famous ability or talent or skill is to escape from any situation. You lock Mr. Miracle up, he's going to find a way to get out, in most cases. He also has something called the Alpha Effect, which are like these godlike abilities that he only uses sometimes and allow him to have all these weird, godlike powers, like bringing people back from the dead. It's rarely used, and I think a lot of writers forget about it over time. But, Mr. Miracle's Alpha Effect is the opposite of Darkseid's Omega Effect. Now, Darkseid's Omega Effect is usually manifested through his famous Omega Beams. They're the eye beams that come out of his eyes, and he can, arc and shoot them directly in different ways to basically track and stalk the target no matter where they go. And so, Darkseid has the Omega Effect, and Scot-Free, aka Mr. Miracle, has the Alpha Effect. Now, this would be a good role, I think, for Logan Marshall-Green. I think he deserves a reward because he was very good in Upgrade, an action movie nobody saw. And that was made by Lee Whannell, who's friends with James Wan. So maybe, Logan Marshall-Green could, find a way to network into that Warner Brothers umbrella. Warner Brothers does all the DC movies. And he has the look of Mr. Miracle. Mr. Miracle is a guy with dark hair. Logan Marshall-Green's a guy with dark hair. I think he's about the same age as Mr. Miracle usually is portrayed in the comics. I think it could work out really well. Now, we don't know much about Ava DuVernay's New Gods movie yet because it's in very early stages of development and she's working on something else. And, I think DC and Warner Brothers are focused on making other DC movies first. Now, she apparently, according to her, she pitched Warner Brothers and DC about doing this. She went to them. So she already has enthusiasm for this property. And she said on Twitter that I think her favorite superhero is Big Barda, one of the most famous New Gods I mentioned, who is Mr. Miracle's lover. So, I don't know, it could be a great partnership. We'll see. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please like it on YouTube and subscribe to the channel because I appreciate your viewership, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.